Alright, welcome to New Zealand Travel News, the segment where we go over the news that people looking to travel to or around New Zealand may care about. We are the team behind New Zealand's largest travel guide, NZPocketGuide.com. I am Robin and this is Laura.
Alright, so our first piece of news is following the recent government COVID announcement as the Omicron virus spreads, or the Omicron variant. So this is what we know so far, and all this information we're about to give you has been taken from the New Zealand government website. So the first piece of information is the interval between the second dose and the booster shot has been reduced from 6 months to 4 months.
Yeah, so we are booked for our booster shot. We actually did book when the requirement was 6 months, so we still have a little bit more time to wait. But yes, they are trying to ramp up all the vaccination effort and even the booster effort in order to try to keep Omicron at bay for a little longer. So yeah, booster shot for all if you are eligible for that, and that should help us keep the population safe around New Zealand and maybe not push the border opening further back.
Hopefully. So we've got over 82% of vaccinated New Zealanders are eligible for the booster by the end of February 2022.
And that is one of the reasons why and one of the next thing we're going to be talking about, why they have decided to push the new border opening with Australia back to February in order to give a shot to most New Zealanders to be able to get their booster shot and have an extra immune population for when the borders are reopening and travel kind of restart in New Zealand.
Okay, so eligible border and health workers are required to get boosters done.
Yeah, so that is the health workers and the border workers have always had to abide by the stringent test of that's the word, I hope, of all vaccination requirements. So yeah, they will have to get their vaccination, and the New Zealand government has been really well on top of that.
Yeah. Okay, the next piece is a pre-departure test requirement to enter New Zealand has been reduced from 72 hours to 48 hours before travel.
And I bet it's not chest, I bet it's test.
Did I say
yes,
chest?
yes. So yeah, when they announced when the New Zealand government announced the new plan to reopen the border, they actually stated that the pre-departure test should be done 72 hours prior to departure. They have now shrunk that time period to 48 hours prior to departure, and we expect that to apply to any other kind of countries when the new plan is being divulged.
Okay, the phased border reopening has been pushed from the 17th of January to the end of February 2022.
All right, so from the 17th of January, that was basically when you will have no managed isolation quarantine requirement, and you will have to do self-isolation. And that would be, this one would only be for New Zealand resident visa holder as well as New Zealand citizens and all these things. But this has already been pushed back to February, so that means that this stage reopening plan may be pushed back. So that means maybe Australia is going to be pushed back a little bit, and then the next stage would be pushed back a little bit longer. We will have to have a look at how the Omicron variant is expanding around New Zealand and what the government decides to do. But that's already out of those 3 stages that they elaborated on. The first stage is already been pushed back by about a month and a half. About 6 weeks. So let's just start realizing that maybe all the other stage may be pushed a little further as well. They have not done any concrete information just yet. They have not given any concrete information just yet, but you know, it's expected that if they push one, maybe the next one they're going to be pushed as well.
Yeah. Okay, so there's been a temporary change to MIQ, which is the Managed Isolation and Quarantine. So the length of stay has increased to 10 days for all travellers with no self-isolation component.
Yeah, so from 7 days up to 10 days, same thing. They're just kind of moving things because Omicron is a little bit more, transmission or...
Oh, what's the word?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh well, keep going, keep going. We'll get back to that word. It's Christmas, guys. It's Christmas.
Contagious.
Contagious. Yes, exactly. So it's spreading more easily. We're still digesting, guys.
All right, moving on to the next one. So everyone on an international flight with a positive case is to be treated as a close contact.
Yeah, so before they were only treated as close contact, some like closer people in flight. Now it's the entire flight. It's going to make things easier for containing any potential outbreaks.
all countries have been removed from the very high-risk country list.
That's a good news.
Yeah. Cabinet confirms that the decision to roll out the pediatric doses of Pfizer.
Pediatric for kids.
Pediatric doses of Pfizer for 5 to 11-year-olds. The rollout has started from the 17th of January before the schools return in 2022.
So the pediatric dose is going to be given to children from 5 to 11 years old, and yeah, it's starting soon. So we may get more of the population vaccinated, which also means that those younger children will also be able to travel overseas for some of the countries, for example, like the Cook Islands, which require everybody to be fully vaccinated, including children. That means that maybe children will start to be able to travel as well.
Yeah. The Cabinet has confirmed use of the traffic light system to manage the outbreak. In the event of Omicron outbreaks, areas will move to the red traffic light area.
This doesn't affect travelers, it's just what happens in New Zealand. We're keeping our green, orange and red light system.
Yeah. And finally, Air New Zealand has cancelled 120 flights following the announcement, which affects 27,000 customers.
So yeah, following the announcement, that means there's 6 weeks of extra, kind of border closure in short. That's basically what it is. And so this is basically pretty much all those flights are within that 6 weeks period, which were running from basically the 17th of January all the way to the end of February. And yeah, most of those flights have been cancelled since people basically can't come.
Yeah. All right, so we're moving on to our second piece of news. That was everything from the recent government announcement concerning how Omicron is spreading and how that's affected, travel and all that sort of thing for New Zealand. But now we're moving on to a little piece of news about. This is more for people that are able to travel into New Zealand.
If you're Kiwi and planning a great walk around New Zealand, listen up.
Listen up. So, refund offer to Stewart Island trampers over bedbug infestation concerns. This was published by Radio New Zealand, RNZ. So, trampers who plan to walk the Rakiura track on Stewart Island this summer are being offered the option of a refund as the battle against bedbugs continues. The bugs reached infestation levels last year and earlier this year at the North Arm hut. The Department of Conservation said both the North Arm and Port William huts have been checked and retreated ahead of the season following an active campaign against the pests. However, on the 14th of December, it confirmed that several bedbugs had been found while rangers were undertaking daily checks. The Luxmore hut on the Kepler track and 3 huts on the Whanganui Journey Great Walk have also been treated for bedbugs this year. Dock Ranger advice for stopping the spread of bedbugs includes: leave your gear outside the hut where possible, only taking what you need inside. Ensure you air out and clean your gear regularly. Be mindful of not spreading bedbugs to local accommodation providers. Check with staff to see what their protocol is for managing gear, which could be in contact with bedbugs and their eggs. Don't disrupt the glue traps, leave them alone so that the dock can keep monitoring them. And ideal control measures can vary by location. If in doubt, ask a warden.
Alright, so yeah, there has been a bit of an issue with bedbugs in some huts along some great walks. The good thing is, if you're worried about that, you can get a full refund from the Department of Conservation. Just go on their website and you'll have all the information right there. However, if you are not too fussed and you are willing to follow like some basic procedures, you kind of have to rough it up a little bit. And in most places around Stewart Island anyway, you'll have to battle sandflies and all these kind of things anyway. So I think that, if you're willing to deal with the sandflies to see the amazing landscape that New Zealand has to offer, maybe you can battle a couple of bedbugs, you'll be fine. But they're doing really active fumigation over there, so there is only very small amount. It's not like a complete raging invasion. Just making that clear. It's just a few of them, but they'd rather be safe than sorry.
Yeah, and they're offering a refund if you're not keen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So at the end of every single news segment, we like to tell you a little bit about a deal. This time it's something a little bit different. It's a company that we kind of like. It's not a sponsored segment whatsoever. However, it is just something we wanted to make you aware of, because there is a Kiwi version of something very popular.
Yes, so want to try a New Zealand version of Airbnb? Choose your perfect holiday accommodation from the largest selection of pre-serviced holiday homes, batches and apartments available for rent in New Zealand. Book instantly online with Bachcare's real-time availability. This is not a sponsored segment, as Robin says, just it's a better, more Kiwier version of the very usually uneven offering from Airbnb in New Zealand.
All right, so that wraps up this new segment. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to reward all our hard work and stay up to date with our videos. Plus, check out nzpocketguide.com for thousands of tips, hidden gems, and much more.